matalino, mabait, honest, number 56 sa ating balota. Welcome, Attorney Vic Rodriguez.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you, everyone. Good morning. And as mentioned by Pete, thank you for being here on a short notice. Alam naman ninyo na ang buhay ng kandidato, basta't may opportunity makihumarap sa mga kaibigan natin sa both traditional and social media ay ating ginagampanan para din nalalaman ninyo yung ikot ng kampanya. And I'm here in Davao to take part later tonight, this afternoon rather, sa gagawing pagtitipon ni pangungunahan ni Pangulong Duterte at ni Mayor Baste Duterte. At yes, maybe you will be more interested doon sa case update natin sa Korte Suprema regarding the petition for certiorari and prohibition, questioning the constitutionality of the 2025 budget. Supposedly, ngayong araw ay magaganap yung preliminary conference. Subalit, humingi nga ng extension of time ang Office of the Solicitor General to submit, to make their submission doon sa comment na pinag-uutos ng Korte Suprema. So it was pushed back to March 5, yung preliminary conference. At we have yet to see a copy because we filed a motion to issue subpoena duces tecum on the original copy of the enrolled bill. Apparently, nakapag-submit na, may submission na yung gobyerno through the Office of the Solicitor General at hindi pa namin nakikita yung kopyang yan, but in their compliance, nakapag-submit na raw sila ng kopya ng enrolled bill. It is important because ang ating babalik-balikan lagi ay yung mga blanco sa Bicameral Conference Committee. It is our strong position that you cannot have a signed General Appropriations Bill and sign it and make it into a law kung ang basihan mo ay yung mga blankong Bicameral Conference Committee report. It's highly anomalous, as I have reiterated many times in the past. Itong GAA at yung Bicameral Conference Committee report that was signed, ratified, approved, and filed before the House of Representatives Bills and Index Service is nothing but a product of a very poisonous legislative process. So, yun ang update. The April 1 oral argument to be held in Baguio, tuloy din po iyan. We just also filed last week, I think last Friday, ay nag-file na yung mga abogado ng isa pang omnibus motion to issue a restraining order para hindi na magamit pa yung nalalabing pera o pondo na nakalagak dyan sa what we are contesting now as the unconstitutional 2025 budget. Because as you know, based on the report regarding the allotment and release order made by the DBM, 65% of the budget for 2025 had been released sa mga iba't ibang ahensya or departamento. And we are only relying on what was released in the online news of the portal of Business World Online. At nakalagay din doon of the 65% budget released by DBM, 41% daw ng budget ng Department of Public Works and Highways ay na-release na. Yung papunta dyan sa mga infrastructure projects perhaps. And yung almost $500 billion pesos, $500 billion, hindi $500 billion, $500 billion pesos ay na-release na rin pagdating naman sa mga unprogrammed appropriation. Well, if that is the case, we have yet to hear any explanation from them kung talagang 500 billion plus na doon sa unprogrammed appropriation ang na-release, bakit nauna o binigyang prioridad yung unprogrammed appropriation? Wala nang pondo for that. So yan yung ating update, and hopefully the Supreme Court will also feel the sense of urgency that most of the Filipinos are feeling now na hindi maubos itong pera natin. At yun nga, lagi ko sinasabi, ito ay produkto, this is a product of a very poisonous legislative process at dapat itong mapigilan. And we are also very, very happy hearing now the issue of PhilHealth being elevated into a higher form of discourse wherein the honorable members of the Supreme Court are questioning where is the money. Essentially, in political language, it's questioning yung mga dapat nating tanungin, where is the people's money? Saan ninyo linalagay? Very, very revealing yung nangyari dyan sa oral argument sa PhilHealth, although that is not yet our case. It's the PhilHealth case filed prior to our case, na yung 60 billion inahanap apparently to fund infrastructure projects of the present administration, meron na palang funding. Yung fully funded pala, yung sinasabing Panay Negros Guimaras Bridge or Highway na 174.5 billion pesos ay naiutang na sa Export-Import Bank of Korea. So kung meron ng pondo yan, fully funded na, meron pa yatang augmentation or supplemental funding ng 23 and 24 national budget, bakit kinakailangan pang kunin yung 60 billion pesos ng sambayan ng Pilipino na nakalagak sa PhilHealth? And again, malinaw din sa ating saligang batas na yung mga money collected or taxes collected for special purpose cannot be used and shall be treated as a special fund to be used only for such purpose that which it was collected. So malinaw yan, maganda umuusad yung mga kaso questioning the constitutionality of the 60 billion pesos PhilHealth Fund kinuha ng Executive Department at ito ng 2025 constitutionality of the budget na ating kini-question. Lamang, I think that's the update from my end, and I am now open to take your query or question.
Yes. Attorney, good morning. Yes, I'm Maya Pedro-Vegetable. Attorney, do you think ito postponement with a conference will affect the decision of the Supreme Court?
No, it's just a 5-day period na postponement. From today, February 28, na-move lang ito into March 5. And I think it was, the reason I think, is late nga yung submission nila nung kanilang comment. Nag-file lang sila ng kanilang motion na asking for another 5 days last Friday. Today is already Friday, last Friday. And I don't think na aksyonan agad yan ng korte sapagkat almost end of office hours na nung Friday nila sinubmit yun. And hindi nga biro yung kaso dahil we are questioning the constitutionality of the 2025 budget. So we'll take it on its face value na na-move lamang dahil late sila nakapagkaroon ng submission.
But are you optimistic naman with this will yield positive result?
Well, even before we filed the case before the Supreme Court, we're very confident because yung apat yung grounds natin eh. Unang-una, yung higit na malaki yung funding na binigay ng administrasyon sa public works instead of sa education sector. And that is a clear violation of our Constitution, Article 14, Section 5. At ganun din, na yung budget process na hinijak ng BICAM or BISCAM, yung NEP na sinumite ng Office of the President. Dahil nga, yung executive naman talaga ang nagpo-program, nagpa-plano, nagsusubmit ng taunang budget ng buong gobyerno. And again, also using as anchor our Constitution, hindi maaaring iangat ng Kongreso yung panukalang budget ng Office of the President or the Executive Department. Bakit pa sila nagmi-meeting? Yung Development Budget Coordination Committee kung hindi rin naman susundin yung mga naging panukala ng Executive Department. Alam na Executive Department magkano pananalapi ang kinakailangan patakbuhin ng buong gobyerno. Sama na dyan ang Legislative at saka yung Judicial Department. Bakit nakikialam ang BICAM at hina-hijack yung panukala ng Executive Department through the Office of the President by the submission of the NEP at papalitan ng BICAM? Ang BICAM, wala siya sa budget process. Ang trabaho lang ng BICAM o Bicameral Conference Committee ay i-reconcile yung mga conflicting line items o yung mga amount. Pero hindi niya pwedeng amendahan yung naaprubahan na ng lower house at ng upper house. Reconciliation na lang yan. Hindi niya pwedeng palitan. In this case, in 2025 budget, pinalitan, in-overhaul ng Bicameral Conference Committee yung nabalangkas na pagdebatihan na at inaprubahan na ng mababang kapulangan at nung Senado. Hindi pwede yan, bawal yan, wala sila dyan sa budget cycle ng pagpasa ng ating taon ng budget. And of course, yung issue natin ng PhilHealth na meron na naman ang unang kaso na dinidinig, it is unconstitutional to give PhilHealth zero budget for 2025, not for 2025, not even in the succeeding years. Why? Merong special fund that is meant specially to fund PhilHealth. And yung ating tinatawag na Republic Act 11223 o yung Universal Health Care Law. Therefore, hindi mo pwedeng bigyan ng zero allocation or appropriation ng PhilHealth. Alam ito ng lahat ng kagaya ninyong nagtatrabaho. Alam ito ng lahat ng manggagawa. Dahil meron tayong mandatory contribution monthly na binabawa sa sweldo ninyo na dapat napupunta sa PhilHealth. Hindi yan pera ng gobyerno alone. Maraming pera dyan galing sa pribado. Yung binabawa sa sahod ng sambayan ng Pilipino, ng manggagawang Pilipino. Buwis yan eh. Yung buwis na yan is intended to fund yung mga kinakailangan under the Universal Health Care Law. Hindi pwedeng zero. This is the third ground ng ating petition sa Korte Suprema. And of course, yung flawed budget process na ginawa nila at yung mga blanco sa Vice-Cam report na ating kini-question. We are very confident that the Supreme Court will see the value or contained in those arguments presented before them.
Thank you po.
Yes. Use 4.
Attorney Ruth Palo po, Ms. Ford. Since nahumingi ng extension yung government attorney, submission ng documents, do you think walang mekos-mekos na mangyari doon sa mga documents? Possible ba yun?
Well, pagka walang transparency and accountability sa administrasyon, kagaya ng nangyayari ngayon, posible ang mga kung anumang adjustment ang gagawin nila. But we are able to secure some documents and we had it certified, and that's why we are looking forward to the conduct of the preliminary conference to see what they're going to submit and compare it with what we have. And pag malaki yung discrepancy dyan, lalo lamang lulubog ang mga gumagawa niyan in the present administration.
Attorney, ask ko na lang din ito. May alam ka doon sa dalawang babae na nahuli doon sa Hong Kong na withdrawal nila?
Again, they lack transparency. Ang pinangalanan lang yung isa. Yung babae na apparently daw ay lawyer ay hindi pinapangalanan. Where is the transparency here? Where is the accountability here? Yung isa ang parang depensa nag-uulyanin na. Something like that. I read it sa isang online news na nag-uulyanin na yun yata ang depensa nung pinangalanan. Pero merong isa yung babae na abogada na hindi pinapangalanan. We have to know. Para din yan yung question ni Pangulong Duterte, kanino ibinenta yung 20 o 25 toneladang ginto na reserve ng Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Dapat malaman din natin yun, kanino ibinenta at magkakano ibinenta at anong kadahilanan na tayo ay nagbenta. Sinasabi na maganda daw ang presyo kasi ng ginto nung mga panahon na ibinenta yun, kahit ngayon ka bumili ng ginto, palitan mo yung binenta mo, abonado pa ang gobyerno dahil higit na mataas ang presyo ng ginto ngayon kumpara nung panahon na ito ay ibinenta. At hindi ito dapat na pag-usapan kung hindi rin lumabas sa isang international or foreign online news portal. Kaya dito makikita natin in relation sa tanong ni Ruth, kulang talaga sa transparency ang pamahalaan ito.
Sir, follow up ko lang dun sa gold issue. Sinabi ni Ma'am Pierre Castro na regular naman daw ginagawa yan ng Bangko Sentral na nagbebenta para hindi masyadong magastos para sa government at sa makikita yung gobyerno. Hindi ba yung nangyayari during your incumbency as Cabinet Secretary?
Well, I do not recall during my stint in the government na may nangyaring ganyan. Assuming for the sake of discussion today that it is regular, all you have to do is to be more transparent. That's all the Filipino people are asking from this administration. Be more transparent. Sabihin ninyo kung kailan ito binenta, bakit ibinenta, kanino ibinenta, magkano binenta. These are the fundamental facts na gusto marinig ng tao. Hindi kinakailangan maging adversarial or antagonistic ang sagot ng gobyerno. Bawal na bang magtanong? Lahat sila ay trabahante natin. Lahat sila ay sumasahod mula sa buwis natin. Pag nagtatanong ang mamamayang Pilipino, obligasyon nilang sumagot. Hindi awayin ang nagtatanong. Sapagkat karapatan ng Pilipino malaman ano ang nangyayari sa kanyang pamahalaan. And that is what Hakbang ng Maisog is advocating for. Transparency, accountability, peace, and security.
Sir, Bian Abano, Sir, DXDCR, Davao. Sir, are you urging pa rin sa President na magpa-drug test?
Sa lahat. Sa lahat. Sa lahat. The call has been there for quite a while. Sa lahat. Not just to single out the President. Sa lahat. Bakit ang Presidente lang? Ang sinasabi lang, kaya lang siya ang laging natutuunan ng pansin because lumalakas yung clamor na leadership by examples. Lahat ng tao nagsasabi higit mataas ang antas ng krimen ngayon. Lahat ng tao nagsasabi, lipanan na naman ang droga at ang pruweba nga ng mga ordinaryong Pilipino, napakamura na ng halaga ng kada gramo ng shabu. Ngayon sa lansangan, ibig sabihin, yung law of supply and demand, talagang bababa ang presyo niyan kung bumabaha sa kalsada ng illegal na droga. That is why the people are advocating na labanan itong paglaganap muli ng illegal na droga.
So comment niyo, sir, na ayaw ng President, sir, na magpa-drug test.
Let the people be the judge. I will always anchor my call on Article 11, Section 1. Public office is a public trust. The same article of our Constitution that they are using against the Vice President. Article 11, Section 4. Yan din ang ginagamit nila. Yung Article 11 kasi yung accountability of public officials. Kung sinasabing hindi dapat yung Article 11, Section 1, dahil hindi rin dapat yung impeachment na under Article 11, Section 4. Diba? Dapat parehas. Bakit iba yung batas para sa kanya, iba yung batas para sa pangalawang Pangulo? Kailangan parehas.
Brigada?
Sir, good morning. Julius po sa Brigada. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Sir, Julius po sa Brigada po. Sir, any reaction po sa ating mga botante, yung itong mga ayuda po na binibigay during this period na hinihingi yung mga present number at ako ano.
Yung ayuda in the form of, let me be very clear. Dalawang anyo ang ayuda. Yung isa yung conditional cash transfer. Ito po yung 4Ps na may mga conditionality that you have to meet para patuloy kang nandyan sa listahan, pero hindi ka forever dyan. Dahil wala namang forever. Gagraduate ka dapat dyan. Pagtapos na sa pag-aaral yung mga anak mo and so on and so forth, para others will be given, others who are similarly situated will be given a chance na makatanggap ng conditional cash transfer. Ang ating inaayawan yung unconditional cash transfer, yung unlimited na ayuda. Ito nga yung AYIX at yung AKAP. Hindi dapat ito ipagpatuloy sapagkat you are promoting a culture of mendicancy not just in government but amongst us Filipino people. Dapat siyang itigil. At hindi rin dapat na kinukuha yung precinct number, yung pangalan, and so on and so forth. Because this is a legal way of buying votes. Pero illegal pa rin yan. Dahil ginagawa ng campaign kitty ng mga incumbent at ng mga tiwaling mamambabata, senador at kongresista, itong AKAP at AYIX. Hindi yan ang kinakailangan natin. Hindi ito ang magtatawid at puputol sa kahirapan sa ating bansa. Ayaw ng Pilipino na nanlilimos. Meron tayong dignidad. Gusto natin yung ating dangal, yung ating self-respect. Hindi natin kailangang manlimos at hindi rin tama na dapat gawing timawa ang mamamayang Pilipino ng mga tiwaling kongresista.
Sir, follow up lang po. Any reaction po sa mga survey na lumalabas po during this election sa mga senador?
I'm just looking at May 12, 2025. The real survey is May 12, 2025. Let them win all the surveys out there between now and May 10. Basta ang kinakailangan, tangkilikin tayo ng tao sa May 12, 2025 because that is the only survey that will matter this midterm election. And I'd like to take this opportunity to remind the people, seryosohin natin itong midterm election. Let's take this as a referendum. Sang-ayon ba kayo sa unang 3 taon ng kasalukuyang administrasyon? Ang usapin ngayon ay inflation, corruption, poverty, unemployment, underemployment, criminality, and drugs. These are the issues that you should all use to measure whether or not you approve of this present administration. Because if not, then go for the Duterte approved and certified senatorial candidates. Let this serve as a referendum. Kung gusto nyo magpatuloy ang pagtaas ng pangunahing bilihin for the next coming 3 years, then huwag nyo tingnan ang mga kandidatong katulad ko na alyado ni Pangulong Duterte. Kung gusto ninyong higit pang tumaas ang kriminalidad at maglaganap ang droga at lumaganap ang kahirapan at kagutuman, then do not even consider us. Do not even consider me. Again, let this midterm serve as a referendum. Whether you approve of the way that this country is being governed, whether you approve of the way where this country is going. We are being led into perdition if we are not yet there. But we have a chance to correct yung misdirection ng administrasyon ito. Ituwid natin, pumili tayo ng tama ngayong midterm election.
Next question from Bongo Rajo.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello. Alright. Attorney, first question po regarding sa impeachment trial ni VP Sara. Regarding po sa statement ni Senator Chis Escudero po na hindi niya raw po or hindi po siya pinipressure. What do you think of this po? Kasi last week po, parang napikon siya nung sinabihan siya na bakit niyo minamadali itong impeachment, this and that. And then the other day, nagpadala siya ng letter kay VP Sara, kay House Speaker Martin Romualdez, including the schedule or the calendar of the impeachment trial. So, what do you think of this? Ano ba ito? Parang pamamaraan nila to, of course, a diversionary tactic para kasi, di ba, the OSG is asking for another 5 days para sagutin itong sinabi ng, with regard the issue by Camilo.
Nakikita natin na ang pinakamalaking diversionary tactic employed para pagtakpan itong incompetence and non-performance and of absence of any performance to show itong administrasyon ito ay yung impeachment complaint laban kay Vice President Inday Sara Duterte. Alam niyo, kaya pinirmahan, andyan naman nakikita ninyo sa mga iba't ibang social media ng mga pumirma na kongresista, di ba? Sinasabi nila, sila'y naobligang pumirma dahil sila'y na-pressure lamang, hindi bibigyan ng pondo yung mga kongresista o yung distrito na hindi pipirma. Alam mo ninyo mga kababayan, hindi tama yung ganong reasoning. They signed that because out of principle. Hindi ito pumirma out of principle yung naniniwala silang dapat i-impeach yung impeachable officer. Sinasabi ng karamihan, sila'y naobliga, sila'y napilitan for fear na hindi mabibigyan sila ng pondo yung distrito nila. Hindi pwede yun. No taxes without representation. Saan ba galing yung pondo kada distrito? Di ba sa buwis? Paano mo ngayon gagawing hostage yung mga kongresista at yung mga tao sa distrito kinakatawan ng kongresista yan? Taxpayers yung mga yun. Hindi pwedeng zero budget or zero funding ang kada distrito. Buwis nila yun Buwis nila yun. Kasi kung susundin natin na pagka hindi ka nakipaglaro o hindi ka sumunod sa kapritsyo ng mga namumuno sa House of Representatives, wala kang budget. Para mong sinasabi, huwag tayong lahat magbayad ng buwis. Bakit? Wala kang representation Hindi pwedeng magsalita yung kinatawan mo. Dahil pag nagsalita na hindi sang-ayon dun sa gusto ng mga naghahari-harihan sa House of Representatives, zero budget ka. Ba't pera ba nila yun? Taxes yan. Taxes yan. Kung ganyan landas ang ating susundin, you are encouraging people not to pay taxes. Why? Wala akong representation eh. Kaya nga representative ang tawag sa'yo, kinatawan lang kita. At yung mga pumirma, mga kababayan, singilin ninyo yung mga mambabatas ninyong pumirma. Singilin ninyo, nagkaroon ba ng public hearing? Nagkaroon ba ng public consultation bago sila pumirma? Kinonsulta ba nila yung kanilang mga employer? Sino employer ng mga mambabatas? Hindi ba yung tao sa distrito nila? Kaya ngayong midterm, kunin din natin itong pagkakataong ito. Maraming humihinging kongresista at mga senador ng renewal or extension of their employment contract. Yung mga kongresista, 3 years lang ang kanilang employment contract. Yung mga senador, 6 years. Now, yung mga up for renewal, humihingi uli ng extension, 3 taon o 6 na taon. Tingnan ninyo yung performance nila sa Congress. Gawin nating batayan itong pagpirma sa unconstitutional impeachment complaint. Kung kayo sa distrito ninyo ay hindi kinonsulta, walang public hearing, sisantihin na ninyo yung mga kongresista ninyo. Sisantihin na ninyo yung mga senador na magbibigay aksyon dito sa unlawful and unconstitutional impeachment complaint. Huwag ninyo silang bigyan ng extension, palitan ninyo. Bakit? Dahil sila'y pumirma dahil wala daw pondo distrito, hindi nila pinaglaban yung buwis na binabayad ng mga tao sa distrito nila. Hindi pwedeng walang representation dahil pag sinunod natin yung landas na yan, they are encouraging people, all ordinary Filipino people, not to pay taxes. Because ang nagiging premise is, wala kayong representation sa Kongreso. Pagka ganyan ang premise, di no taxes kung walang representation. Kasi ganun din naman ang nangyayari. Wala naman kayong ibibigay na pondo. You cannot give zero funding for every congressional district because nandiyan ang gagaling yung buwis. Hindi sa bulsa, hindi sa personal na bulsa o personal na ari-arian o personal na pera nung mga naghahari-harian sa House of Representatives.
Okay, last question on my end.
Yeah.
Yes. Last question on my end, attorney. I don't know if you heard about this too. Dito sa amin kasi may nag-issue last week na kapitan at saka running for a congressman. Sumama itong congressman sa distribution ng DSWD ng ayuda. What do you think about, what is your take about this issue po? Kasi yung magpapapili bilang isang kongresista, depensa niya po is that sumasama lang daw sila knowing that Secretary or DSWD Secretary Gatchalian have said already na hindi nila pahihintulutan na mababahiran ng politika itong distribution ng DSWD.
Ikaw naman, naniniwala ka ba kasi sinasabi nila? Wala naman sinasabing totoo. Yung sinasabi nilang hindi mababahiran ng politika, it's all about politics. Kaya nga nila binastardize yung proseso, ng tamang prosesong pagpasa ng budget dahil sa politika. Yung budget ng 2025, hitik, siksik, liglig, umaapaw ng politika ito. Hindi developmental budget ito. Hindi developmental budget ito. Ito'y panay politika. Ang masaklap, yung pera nating Pilipino, ginagawa nilang personal campaign kitty nila na hindi natin dapat payagan. And from my end, bilang namumuno ng tunay at maisip na oposisyon, dinala natin yung issue sa Korte Suprema. Nag-file tayo ng kaso questioning the legality, the constitutionality, the validity of this anomalous, highly irregular, and unconstitutional criminal 2025 budget.
Okay, we'll take the last questions from SMNI.
Yes.
Okay.
Brenda po from SMNI.
Hi, Brenda.
Attorney, good morning. Before my question, I'm just gonna mention that there was a video footage on one of the rallies of the administration's league where Bongbong Marcos was there, and there were people na they were shouting Duterte. So would you consider those who are aligned with the administration, the candidates for senators, yung pag-align nila sa administration, can it be considered a kiss of death considering po sa declining trust of the people sa administration, considering po na yung mga nakalinya sa administration na kandidato ngayon were calling Bongbong Marcos before as thief, as like the likes of Pacquiao. We saw the video before that he is calling Marcos corrupt, and then 180 degrees nag-change yung kanyang comment. So my question is, would you consider that being aligned with the administration on this election a case of death?
I don't think I'm the proper person to be asked and to reply to your question, ma'am. Dahil ako'y kapwa-kandidato rin. And let the people be the judge of their character, their decision-making process, kung bakit sila naroroon at bakit totally opposed doon sa kanilang sinasabi in the past. But I think with due respect and most respectfully, ma'am, I rather not reply dahil hindi magandang ako ang sasagot dahil pare-pareho kaming kandidato pagka-senador. Let the people be the judge sa kanilang desisyon.
Okay, last question on my end. Sir, there was a statement from, I think, Claire Castro, the USEC of PCO, na i-return daw yung PhilHealth Fund na inilagay ng PhilHealth before sa DOF. So, sa Treasury. So, what's your comment on that? Ngayon, nagsabi naman sila na ibabalik daw kung ipapabalik ng Korte Suprema.
Well, I don't think it could be her personal opinion. I don't think her statement reflects the sentiment of the administration that she is serving. Why? If that is their position, how come in the first place kinuha nila yung 60 billion ng PhilHealth? Pangalawa, bakit binigyan ng zero funding ng PhilHealth? Pangatlo, tigit sa lahat, why do you have to wait for a ruling coming from the Supreme Court declaring, assuming it will be declared that what they did is illegal, is criminal and unconstitutional? Hindi ba dapat tayong lahat, especially on the part of the executive department, the President no less, being the chief implementer of all the laws of the land, na dapat nalalaman niyang hindi tama yung ginawa nila? So bakit kinakailangan tayong bumalik sa punto na mapinag-uutusan kang isoli yung illegal na kinuha mo sa kaba ng gobyerno, sa kaba ng PhilHealth? So I think, again, they lack transparency and there's no clear accountability under this administration. So tingnan natin, baka later on yung statement na yan will be denied or be refuted by somebody who has a higher pay grade than the one who made that statement. So ako, antayin natin dahil yun nga, alam nyo na palang illegal, bakit nyo pa ginagawa?
Okay, thank you so much. This ends our press briefing this morning. But can we invite you all to cover this afternoon's events?
Thank you.
So that marami ring mga issues ma-take up mamaya.
Isang oras na, sir.
That's, I think, 4 o'clock sa Asuela Co. That's the Bugpong sa Taong Lungsod Youth Assembly.